Hey guys, welcome back. Simmons Beauty here with another video. So today let's talk is going to be about let's talk about death. Now, I already know I'm probably not going to get any views from family members on this video, which is okay. I understand. I'm very understanding of other people's perspectives, and I don't expect people to agree with, everybody deals with death differently. For me, the way I deal with death, I look at it as it's a part of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, without death, there cannot be any life. And if you really think about it, once we're born, we start dying immediately. So, yeah, let's talk about death. So, death is such a taboo subject in society, which I'm not sure where that comes from. So the way I deal with it is that I speak about death to my kids. Of course, it's age appropriate, but I do talk to my kids about death. There's something I've always talked to them about, just like I talk to my kids about sex. I do talk to them about death. So, yeah, let's jump into it. So, society has attached this negative stigma to death as if it's a negative thing. And I think because society has continued to carry that same stigma, yeah, people kind of shy away from that topic. I know for me, my thought about death changed in 2015. I was in pulmonary rehab at the time, and they had me hooked up to the heart monitor, the oxygen thing, whatever. And they keep saying, are you having chest pains? I'm like, yes, I'm having chest pains. They're like, well, your vitals are kind of unstable. We need you to go to the emergency room. So I'm telling the people, I'm like, no, I'm not going to the emergency room because I already know that they're going to keep me, and my kids are about to go back to school, and I already missed last year. When they started school, I was in the hospital. So I was like, this year, I don't want to miss it. I don't want to put them through all that extra stuff, and I feel fine. So I want to go home. So they're like, we can't allow you to go home, Miss Sims. We're going to have to call your doctor. They called my doctor. They told my doctor what was going on. My doctor asked to speak to me. And he's like, you need to go to emergency, period. So I'm like, okay. My doctor said I need to go to the emergency, but can I go home real quick? Get whatever I need. Can I go home? No, you can't go home. You got to get in a wheelchair. We need to take you over there right away. Now, because I was already at the hospital, that's where the pulmonary rehab was. They just had to transfer me to another one. So I get there, and they do some blood work, and the PA at the time, the physician's assistants, come in. He's like, well, your D-dimer was elevated. That usually indicates that you may have a blood clot. But because you have a history of an elevated D-dimer, most likely you don't have one, and we're going to send you home. So they do the blood work. It comes back elevated. They're like, because it came back elevated, we have to follow a certain protocol to make sure that you don't have a blood clot. So we need you to get a CAT scan. Go get the CAT scan. The PA come back, and he's like, I have something to tell you guys. At this point, my kids was there. My husband had ran home, got the kids, came back to the hospital. He's like, we did find out some stuff. Do you want us to say it in front of everybody? And I was like, no, I told the kids to step out. So just me and my husband in the room, and he was like, well, the CAT scan showed that you have a blood clot in your lung. You have a pulmonary embolism. What? They like, yeah, thank God that you came today, because most likely the blood clot would have ended up going through your heart today, and you would have died. So that situation right there changed my whole perspective on the way I looked at death. It kind of forced me to make sure that my stuff was in order. You know what I'm saying? I do have 3 children, and you know, I had to make sure that I had broken things down to the last percent, made sure everything, Terrence, Daquan, and I, was going to be all right. So I made sure I did that. They put me on the blood thinners for 6 months and whatever the case may be. So ever since then, I kind of looked at death differently. Now, I'm one of those type of people. If someone in my family or someone that I love is going to pass away, I'm going to go and pay my respects. Now, of course, do I want to see my loved one on their deathbed? Of course not. But I now have a thing where I no longer can go to funerals. I just can't do it. I feel like funerals are for the living. I think that it's a waste of money to buy this expensive box, buy this expensive hole, buy these expensive clothes for a deceased person to go in. This is just my shell. You see what I'm saying? So why am I spending all this money for just a shell? I don't want to, I don't want my last memory of that person to be in a box. It doesn't resonate well. Oh, I'm sorry, Penny. You scared me, baby. Oh, your whiskers went in my mouth. Yuck. What's the matter? You was wondering where Grammy went? Okay, bye. See you later. Sorry, Pancake scared me. He snuck up on me. I didn't hear him come down the steps or anything. He just like put his paw on my leg. So yeah, like, I don't want that to be my last memory of a person. Of course, I don't want to see my loved one on their deathbed, but I would prefer to sit there and have a conversation with my loved one, or, you know, just tell them I love them, let them know that I'm here. I can't do funerals. It's just because I'm an empath. Remember, I'm an empath. I can go in a room and I can pick up everybody's emotions. It's too overwhelming for me to deal with everybody's in the room emotions as well as mine, because then I can't decipher what belongs to me. It's a long conversation. We'll talk about that another time. So, do I think about my death? Of course I do. I always, matter of fact, probably about 6 months ago, I had a dream that I was going to only be in this body for 3 more years. Now, I am one to have premonitions, but sometimes my premonitions do not come true, and I'm hoping that that one does not. But if it did, I have my living will done, because I told you I had to have these surgeries. That is something I have to take in consideration. If something happens to me, who is going to make sure that my wishes, you know, are respected? So of course I had to put that advance directive in place. In a way, people thought I was like planning for my funeral, but I wasn't. I have to look at my situation like through a clear lens. I can't say, oh, you know, it's a possibility. Well, I know I have all these breathing complications and my doctors tell me how sucky my lungs are all the time. But no, I'm going to be here forever. That would be reckless on my end, I feel like. So I made it very clear to my husband and my children what I want. I do not want a funeral. I do not want a funeral. Please do not waste your money on me. Now, if y'all want to do a celebration of life and it doesn't cost anything, like just coming to the house, everybody looking at pictures, remember the good times, laughing and busting it up, fine, y'all can do that. But I do not want a funeral. I don't want a funeral. I don't want to be in a casket. I don't want to be buried. Those are things that I used to want. But now that I'm older and I see things differently, I don't want that. I want to be cremated. And they have these things called, I think they're called like tree of lives, where you can pick the type of tree that you want to be. I think I picked a red maple. And it goes off by the state you live in. So it'll tell you all the trees that's in your state. I told my kids and my husband that I just want my ashes poured into the urn. It's not really an urn. It's just like a seed, a tree seed, and you know, you water it, you plant it into the ground, and you become a tree. I love trees. Trees are my favorite thing. So I said, if I did want to be buried in a certain type of way, what type of way would I want to do it? And that's my way. I would like to be a tree. And I told my kids and my husband, there's stipulations on this. I cannot be buried in anybody's backyard, because I don't want people to be like, I can't leave, I cannot move because my mom is here. I don't want anybody to become attached, you know, to anything. Just take me out in the woods, in the forest, and bury me and let me be. When I get big enough, draw a heart on me so people, you know, y'all know who I am or how to identify me, and call it a day. Yeah, like for me, death is not a taboo subject. I think it's important to talk to your kids about death. I think it's important to talk about death. I think it's important to let your loved ones know what is it that you would want in case of your demise, and vice versa. What do your loved ones want? I ask my mom all the time. I ask my dad all the time. I you know, talk to my brothers and things like that. And again, I understand that everybody is not comfortable with the topic of death, but people should become comfortable with the topic of death, because it's something that's going to happen to all of us. You know, this past summer was really hard for my middle son, Daquan. He had a really close friend of his who, you know, they went through 10th grade together. They were fine. School let out. The little boy was fine. The summer break came. The little boy became sick. He was in the hospital the whole summer, and then he passed away. He had brain cancer, and this was his second time fighting it. He was only 15 years old, and that crushed my son. Now, by me talking to my son and always telling him, like, there's no guarantee on how long someone will be there. It doesn't matter if a person is a baby. That doesn't mean that they're going to grow to be 60 years old, 100 years old, or anything. No one knows when their time is going to come. And by me having that conversation with my son, it really helped put things in perspective for him. Like, wow, you really just don't know when someone is going to leave. You know, and it was very hard to see him go through that. Like, only thing that he could say, you know, I was just Snapchatting him. You know, this doesn't feel real. And I had to let my son experience that emotion. I didn't try to stop him from mourning. I let him know it's okay to be upset if someone dies. It's okay. You know, because you have to think about it. Like, these kids here, they're starting a school year. My kids started school yesterday. And this is one person now that will not be on the bus. They will not see this young man at the bus stop, which my kids are used to seeing. It's really, 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 really sad. But my son was able to get through it because he realizes that it's going to happen to everybody. And yeah, so, what was the other thing? I think that when it comes to, I'm one of those people that if I'm in a vegetative state and the doctors say that I don't have a chance, I know that it's God's choice. But I do not want to be one of those people that's in a vegetative states for months and years. I don't want people to come and visit me at the hospital and they're just seeing a shell. I don't want that. I do not want that. I also think that if we are able to accept death more in our culture, it will help us be more appreciative of the people that's in our lives. Like, I always tell y'all that I always try to treat people as if it was their last day on earth. That is where I got that type of mindset from once I had that life or death type of situation. So, yeah, my advice would be talk to your kids about death. Of course, age appropriate, please. You know, let them know it's a normal thing. It's a normal part of life. And I always look at it like, I would prefer for God to take someone than for me to keep someone here for my own selfish reasons. Like, say if my mom was sick or something, I don't feel like because that's my mom and I would never see her again, and I don't think that's a good enough reason for me to say I want her to stay. If my mom is suffering and she is in pain, and I do not want her to suffer. I don't want anybody to suffer. Yeah, so that's my topic about death. I'm okay with it. I'm not scared to die. I have my plans made out. I've let my loved ones know. I know what my loved ones want. Is it an uncomfortable conversation in the beginning, but eventually you'll get used to it the more practice. Yeah, I'm not going to make this video too long. That's basically what I could think of off the top of my head. Death is a part of life, and I feel like in order to really be able to experience life, you have to be able to be okay with death. So, yeah. So, okay, let me know in the comments below. Are you comfortable with death? Or, like, what are your thoughts? Do you talk to your kids about death? Have you let your loved ones know what is it that you want in an event that something happened to you? Do you know what your loved ones want? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if no one told you today that you are enough, you are just the way you are with no strings attached. You are perfect just the way God made you. God did not make a mistake when he made you. And if no one told you that they loved you today or that you are loved, I love you. So until next time, guys, peace, love, and blessings. All right, guys, until the next one.